G'day and welcome to the Hobie Wave Workshop. Today I'm going to talk to you about tacking and gybing and the use of a tiller extension and how to install one if you haven't got one. The use of a safety knife in the event of you getting caught in your hiking straps or in any of your ropes on your boat. And also a mud map if you're not quite sure about what tacking and gybing is all about. And also we'll talk about getting stuck in irons. So let's get on with it. Now what you should say, Jeff, is that although you may know about tacking and gybing, you may also know nothing about tacking and gybing, in which case this video will be of use to you. But if you have been tacking and gybing, this video might give you some tips or tricks to do better tacks and jibes, and also introduces getting stuck in irons, which I bet you haven't heard of before. So anyway, on with the video. Now tacking, here is a tack at normal speed. Note that my foot is on the main sheet rope. I'll explain what I'm doing in slow motion in the next clip. Now you really got to make sure that your main sheet rope isn't cleated in your blocks. Now put your foot on the main sheet rope. This frees up your hand and aids in your balance, and it also keeps the power in your sail to enable you to enter the tack with some speed. As you put your foot on the rope, push the rudder away from you to commence your tack. It helps if you have a tiller extension. I'll talk about this later. Now as you duck under the sail, your foot is off the rope and the main is free to go to the other side of the boat. If you've got a jib, as you duck under the sail, you can reach over and unclip your jib rope from its cleat. In most instances, this will allow your jib to go around your mast on its own. Now you may notice that I have a rather long jib rope, but this is because I have 3 different sizes of jib. Now for a jibe. Now the thing to watch for here is when the sail flicks over to the other side of your boat. It's important never to be cleated in. This is the point where most capsizes happen on any boat, when you get caught by a gust of wind unexpectedly. Now let's have a look at a jibe in slow motion. Now again, watch for the sail as it cracks from one side of the boat to the other. In high wind, this can really move quite fast and make a loud noise. I personally think that doing a jibe and letting your sail crack from one side to the other is not doing your sail or your eyelet any good and puts it under a lot of strain. Just to clarify that statement about jibing, for any of you who sail in a club and you sail around a course, obviously you're going to have to do some jibing. I'm talking about recreational boating, where I do try and avoid doing a jibe as much as possible. But of course, if you're racing, you're going to have to learn how to do that. Those magpies just love me making videos. They wait till I come outside and then they start singing. There they go. Now just as a little aside, my boat has a 6-to-1 pulley system for the blocks, and this clip shows just how easy it is to sheet in after a jibe or a tack. It also shows the tack from the other angle and how I use the tiller extension to push on the rudders for my tack. Now stuck in irons. It is such a thing, although it sounds funny. Have you ever started to tack and got halfway through your tack and you've stalled? Now this is called being stuck in irons. I found a simple way to get through the tack is to grab your main sheet ropes and pull them hard towards you while pushing on your rudder. Now the idea here is to rotate the boat under you. If you look at the background, you'll see how the boat is rotating. As soon as you see the slightest hint that the wind is now hitting the other side of the sail, duck under and complete your tack. If you've got a jib, carefully watch this, and as soon as it's moved even slightly to the other side of your mast, shoot it in and the boat will complete its turn. It should be noted here that despite what some people might say about a jib will make it easier, I repeat, will make it easier to tack your boat. Now here's a stalled tack from the opposite side. Sometimes in high winds, you've really got to pull on those blocks hard to get your boat to turn around. Now this is just another example of a 6-to-1 block usage. But watch what I do with the rope in my hand. I'm curling that rope 2 or 3 times around my hand. Now the reason for doing this is that when you're sailing along, if you find you get a bit too much power in your sail, you can open your fingers and let some rope out. If you still need some rope out, you've got another line you can let out there. So that's just a way you can release some of the power from your sail by just letting go of the rope. Now look, you may have noticed at the back of my boat I have rubber fill-ins. If you take these off, it's just a big hole here, and when you're putting your foot on the main sheet rope, this is about where it's going to go. So it might be advisable to actually do what I've done, and you just have a piece of rubber that goes over that section there, and that can just be with stainless steel screws. That can just be screwed into your trampoline rope. Without that rubber, you might find that your foot is going down this hole and getting caught. Now before we leave the topic of tacking and jibing, I want to tell you about an incident that I had last year where I actually got my foot caught in the hiking strap, and I was trapped on the wrong side of the boat. And I'll show you how this happened, and perhaps what you can do to help yourself if this situation occurs with you. So let's say this is my foot. I've got my foot in here while I'm hiking along, and then I go to do a tack to go to the other side of the boat. You take your foot out and over you go. In my case, I accidentally put my foot back under here and I twisted, so my foot was caught in the strap. So my foot was this side and I was the other side of the boat. Now what this means is that the wind had come now to the other side of the boat and I was in danger of capsizing with my foot caught in the strap. So as a result of that, I've now got a safety knife attached to my belt on my life jacket. So on my life jacket now within easy reach, I have a knife which is attached to my belt, and it's just a matter of putting your thumb in here and pulling, and it comes out, and you've got a knife that you can cut a strap on your boat, or if you get caught in your ropes, it'll cut your ropes. So that is a handy gadget to have on you just in case you get your foot caught in the strap or you get caught in the ropes if you have a capsize. So now you could just use your knife to cut through your strap like that, or to cut through any ropes. Well, this is the tiller extension I've used. It's a Ronstand battle stick, model number RF3114. It's telescopic, mounts on your back steering bar, and it goes from 740 millimeters to 1120 millimeters. So that's the battle stick by Ronstand. If you go down the path of installing a hiking stick, make sure that you install it with stainless steel nuts and bolts. and not the pot rivets that might have come with it. I've found on one occasion that the pot rivets came loose, which resulted in me nearly falling off my boat as it's hanging onto the hiking stick. Now, the other thing to make sure of when you install this is to have your rudders down. I made the mistake of installing mine first with the rudders up, which meant that when the rudders went down, the hiking stick was mounted in the wrong place. Now, you may notice that my hiking stick is mounted on this extra bar here. I installed this bar when I cut my rudder arms so that I could sit further back on the boat. This topic was covered in my video modifications to go faster. So my hiking stick is mounted in the same place as yours would be, but it's mounted on this extra bar. Well, if you don't think you need the mud map, this video is finished for you, so you can go on and watch something else. Catch you later. Now, in the absence of any high-tech props, I've got my chalk on the ground in my boat. We've got the wind coming through here. So I'll show you the difference between a tack and a jibe. If we're coming along here in our boat and we want to do a tack, we come around, turn our boat into the wind and try and get it just past the wind in that direction. The wind will now be on this side of the sail and will hopefully push your boat around and then be able to sail away. With a jibe, you're coming down, you have your sail out, sail fairly loose, go into the jibe. You have to watch out about here. At this point, your sail, which has been over here, is now going to flick violently over to that side of the boat. And when I say violently, I mean violently. In big winds, it'll really crack over, and then you proceed on your way. The other issue that you have with tacking is that if you go into the wind, sometimes you get stuck there. Now there, you're facing straight into the wind. So the wind will be going past your sail and your sail will be flapping. Now that's what's called being stuck in irons. All it means is that often you're just sitting there and your boat might start going backwards. Well, I'll show you a method of actually being able to get your boat through that point so that you can get your wind onto that side of the sail so that you can sail off.